Hey everybody, welcome back into the WSAZ Now studio. This is WSAZ Sports Plus. My name is Joseph Payton. We have a few high school football state championship games to talk about, and then a heck of a lot to talk about in the world of college football. So we've got WSAZ Sports Director Keith Morehouse in our studio with us, as he is on Wednesdays for our 9 o'clock stream. Keith, we had 3 schools that played for a state championship over the weekend. It is a wild accomplishment just to make it that far. Mm-hmm. You don't just spawn back there. If you're a team like Raceland and you've been there the previous 3 years, you have to work your way back up the mountain. And unfortunately for our local schools, they all came home with the runner-up trophy, but certainly doesn't take away from the accomplishments of all of those kids and those teams, those coaching staffs, just to get their team and their communities to that point.
Yeah, Joseph, when those guys, start working the summer and they get to this point, I mean, how cool is it to be playing state championship football in December? I felt bad for all of them because they all were tougher stories for whatever reasons. For Raceland to lose it 4 times in a row and every game, we've talked about this, they've gotten closer and closer and closer. And they went down and took the lead, and then Kentucky Country Day went down and broke one off and retook the lead, and then they had one more drive left in them, and you just thought, man, Racing, they got to win this one, and they lose it 20-16 for Coach Salmons and that group. Easy to say, don't hang your head and be proud, but that's just true. You know, to get to a state championship game in any of our states and to do it 4 years in a row, I mean, hopefully that just strengthens their resolve to get back because those kids wanted it so badly, and that didn't happen. And then, of course, Wheelersburg with the year they had, undefeated, going into a title game against another undefeated team, and a little bit overwhelmed in that one. But, man, the Berg was fantastic all year long. And then you have Nitro that came down to a 2-point conversion. They lose 36-35, and Coach McKinney's group was electrifying offensively all year long. So you just feel for them. And nothing – we cover mainly college sports, well, college and high school closely, and on the occasion, professional sports. But I don't know that you find the emotion of a state championship game like there is in high school, whether you win or whether you lose. To see the reactions of those kids, just crestfallen if they lose, and then they're just bouncing off stadium walls when they win. I think the emotion comes out in those high school games. Those championship games, maybe more than any other contest, I think.
You're getting tears on both sidelines, whether you're on the winning side of it or the losing side of it. Of course, everybody wants to be on the winning side of it, but a lot of times it's when these kids, especially like from, the Wheelersburg perspective in Canton there on Saturday, not to speak for any of them, but it's almost like the tears you saw were not for losing the ball game. It was tears of, man, this group doesn't get to play together anymore.
And that's the other realization. You have both those realizations, right?
Right.
Back to back. Like the first thing that hit you is, man, we lost the state championship, the only game we lost all year, 14-1. And you're right, about 10 steps later, they go, that's it. I remember when my son stopped playing high school baseball. They lost in the sectionals, and I'm on the bleachers, and I went, man, that's likely the last competitive baseball game he'll ever play. And it hits a dad, so it hits those kids hard, it hits their families. Because, those are times you talk about your whole lives. And they will. I mean, they'll talk about getting there. And there's no shame in losing. Not in Ohio, as big as Ohio is. In Kentucky either. In West Virginia, the same story. You get to the title game and hang your head. Don't hang your head. Hold it up high and be proud, because those were great seasons for all 3 of those teams.
A state runner-up trophy is not a consolation prize. No. That is an accomplishment. You earned the right to take that thing home to your school.
Yeah, you can't win the title unless you get there. And for those teams to get there was a tremendous accomplishment. And you know what? Suit them up and see if they can get back there again a year from now.
I don't know if I can remember a year where we had, or maybe, I don't know, I haven't been here all that long. Maybe you can, but somebody playing on championship weekend in each state.
Yeah, that has been, I don't think I remember that either. Usually, we've had Raceland the last 4 years, and then, Ironton's been playing for it, and now the Berg jumps in. And then West Virginia went to 4 classes, so it was kind of a little bit surprising that we only had one of our teams in our region, Nitro, make it to West Virginia's state championship games. So it's always different, and it's always, like I said, it's so it just builds all year long, and then you get to that crescendo right there at the end of the season, and it's either heartbreak or elation, and like I said, there's no substitute for high school state championships.
Nope. You want to move to the college game now?
Sure.
We're going to spend a lot of time on that, certainly.
Plenty of time.
The only result we have as far as local interest was that Ohio State game. They fall 13-10 to Indiana in the Big Ten title game. Indiana's legit. Kirk Cignetti and what he's done in Bloomington is unbelievable. You're talking about the historical doormat of the league. Now is the #1 overall seed in the college football playoff, undefeated with a legitimate chance to win a national championship, and they just, defeated Goliath in the Big Ten.
What he has done is nothing short of phenomenal in that school where, basketball's a king. They got a great soccer program, but football has never been. In fact, Ohio State had beaten Indiana more times than any other school has beaten any other school in college football, which means they've been obviously in the Big Ten for a long time. But that domination just has been there forever. Last time they won was in '88 when Bill Mallory was head coach. And for what Cignetti did to take them and to kind of, play bully ball with Ohio State, which is not easy to do, it just validates what everybody's talking about them all year long. They weren't and are not a flash in the pan. We'll see how the playoffs go. I have a feeling, just like last year, Ohio State probably still is the odds-on favorite going in to win this thing, because sometimes all that does is just, get your altimeter back on track, and you go, all right, we lost the game, now let's go win a national championship. So that's the next thing for them. They beat Michigan, which is what everybody, any Ohio State fan wants. Fell in the Big Ten championship, and everybody goes, oh, man, it could have been an unbeaten season. Now you refocus for the national championship.
And like people talk all the time, especially coaches, when you lose a game in any sport, it absolutely brings to the forefront the things that you have to work on and get better at. When you win, it covers it up, and you kind of gloss over it. And, well, it didn't totally bite us in the butt, didn't cost us the game, so maybe we don't have to address that. When you lose, stuff like red zone offense is the reason why. You have to say, okay, we have to fix that, because now we know it can cost us a game. Or maybe it's special teams. Maybe it's the way that you approach play calling in a specific circumstance or situation. These are things that come to the forefront when you lose, and now Ohio State's faced with that. And a lot of people were questioning, where were they vulnerable? Well, now we know, and it's, I think, red zone offense probably being #1.
Yeah, and people can, second guess and, Monday morning quarterback, all the calls about whether you go for that field goal on 4th down, or when they decided to run saying in, and initially he got the first down, then he didn't. So you can second guess that all you want, but as you mentioned, if you're going to go, you got to be all in on going on 4th down, and that means, in my estimation, if you have 3rd and 1 and you in your head are going to go, I'd run it up in there twice and say, you got to stop me. Even, with regards to the great wide receiver talent Ohio State has in Tate and Smith, things get contracted down there. So you got to be able to line up, knock your man back, and pick up a yard. And I think that's probably what Ohio State regrets the most, is not being able to pick up those short yardage situations when they had really a good opportunity to put that game away, or at least separate themselves from Indiana a little bit.
The running game hasn't been great all year long, and it wasn't great on Saturday. I think they only had like 58 total rushing yards. And the one drive where it looked like they had a little bit of a rhythm was that very last drive that ended in the missed field goal. But you get down in there, 2nd and 1, 3rd and 1, and you don't try to run the ball again.
Right.
And it's maybe a thing of a lack of confidence, even though Bo Jackson was getting yardage on that possession.
Yeah.
And then for the life of me, I won't understand taking Smith and Tate off the field on 3rd and 1 and still trying to throw
somebody
it to
else.
a tight end.
Yeah.
But again, if it works, Brian Hartline's a genius.
Oh, yeah, he looks great.
And if it doesn't work, then you and I are sitting here and I'm questioning it. So it's a catch-22 for these coaches.
Well, and in Hartline's defense, if you're going to make that call and you're looking at the defense and they're saying, oh, Tate and Smith are out, they're running the ball.
Right.
So if you do pop that tight end and it works, you're right, he's genius. But you can't go twice into the red zone where they were and come away empty, especially in a championship game. You can do that, in the regular season, maybe against Northwestern or name a Big Ten team. But when it gets time for championships and everybody's playing for more, you got to capitalize on those opportunities.
And shout out to the Indiana defense, because they made those stops.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he's been phenomenal. Mendoza's been great, and I know we'll talk about him a little bit coming up. But nothing to complain about for Ohio State. Tremendous year, and they've got a lot to play for. So they'll recalibrate and get cranked up for the college football playoffs.
Well, you mentioned Mendoza. We'll talk about a little bit, kind of the Heisman duel there. Julian Sayin in that game was 21 of 29, 258 yards with a touchdown and a pick. Mendoza with a very similar stat line. he had 8 incompletions, just like Sandin. He was 15 of 23, 222 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. But we said last week that, probably the leading Heisman candidate coming out of that game would be the winning quarterback. So one would think Mendoza's probably the front runner. I don't know what the betting markets are saying right now, but Mendoza's probably the front runner to take this thing home this weekend.
Yeah, and what stuck out to me was that play he made late there where he threw the ball over the top, basically ended the game. I mean, that's a big-time throw, big-time catch in a really big-time situation. So you have to have confidence in your guy to make that play, and he did it, and they've done it all year long. I have a Heisman vote, and I voted on Sunday night. They asked us not to disclose that until the ceremony, which I completely respect. But, Sayan's been great. The 4 finalists are Mendoza, Jeremiah Love, of course, who's been tremendous also in the mix. And who am I leaving out?
Diego Pavia.
Yeah, Diego Pavia from Vanderbilt. 3 really good quarterbacks and a neat class. I always have great respect for the Heisman. I've been lucky enough to cover 2 of them. And it's just such a cool atmosphere, and just to be among the old Heisman winners and see that trophy, which I think weighs 37 pounds.
37 pounds.
Yeah, it's a monster, and still a great honor. And Julian Sayin and Mendoza both have been fabulous this year, no doubt.
Do you vote on the Heisman online, or do they send you a big golden envelope in the mail?
Yeah,
and, you check a box. How does it work?
It'd be nice if they gave you a big thing you can hang on your wall. No, it's online, and you vote 3 people. One being the best, the one you want. The highest. You ascribe the highest score to. 2 second, 3 third, and then you do it. And you said your Heisman vote has been recorded, and you go, okay, let's see what happens on December, whatever day that is, Saturday.
I assume most people realize that you are ranking guys. It's not just here's my Heisman vote, dude.
No, you can only rank 3. So you pick 3, and that's how they get that point total together. And it represents, voters from all across the country. It's a prestigious honor still, and it's been going on a long time.
I would say
Jay Burwanger was the first winner, by the way.
He was. Where did he go to school?
Do I want to say Illinois? I better look that up.
I don't know.
While you talk, I'm going to look it up.
I was going to mention, Keith, that let's say Fernando Mendoza is the Heisman winner.
Yes.
People are going to point to that, game-winning touchdown at Penn State where that receiver made that ridiculous catch. I would almost argue that it was the 3rd down touchdown pass he threw in the big title game.
Yeah.
That was like back shoulder, corner of the end zone.
Yeah.
A big play. It's
beautiful.
3rd down. You're either kicking a field goal or scoring right there or getting the first down. That was a huge moment for them to take the lead in that ball game.
It really was.
Beautiful throw.
They kind of, it was like 2 heavyweights going at it. Who's going to land the blow? And I was not surprised. It's just Ohio State's been there before, and Indiana hadn't. I thought maybe they might wilt a little bit, but they didn't do that. Jay Burwanger, University of Chicago, by the way.
Chicago.
Yes, which no longer fields a FBS football team.
I would have never guessed that.
I believe that's.
Do they have numerous Heisman winners, or just that guy?
No, that's it. I think that's where they did some work on the atomic bomb or something under the University of Chicago.
Is that right?
I'm deviating from our course here, but anyway.
What was the movie that came out about that recently?
I'm gonna Google that while you ask your next question.
It's Cillian Murphy. Am I thinking of the right thing? Oppenheimer.
Oh, Oppenheimer.
Is
that's
that what
different.
you're
I think
talking
it's
about? Okay,
different.
That's different.
Uh-huh.
See, I haven't seen the movie. I want to.
Let's see. I heard it's really good.
I like old war history stuff.
Okay, yeah, there it
It was
is.
a tumultuous time in human history if you were actually living through it.
Right.
It is interesting in retrospect to go back and learn about those things. And
It is cool. It's
about
important to keep them. Yeah, University of Chicago was central to the atomic bomb's creation as the site of the world's first controlled, self-sustaining nuclear chain reaction.
wow. So Heisman Trophy winners and the atomic bomb.
That's what else do you
University
need.
of Chicago. All right.
Sorry about that.
All right.
course.
Keeping it in college football, before we get to the playoff, let's just talk bowl season in general.
Okay.
We've got the Ohio Bobcats. They're going to the Frisco Bowl. Marshall was just there, 2 years ago,
Couple years
I
ago.
believe?
Mm-hmm.
They'll play UNLV. That's Dan Mullen's squad.
That's going to be an interesting game. I like that.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about bowl games, and everybody, all poo-poos them. They're meaningless. But you get such cool matchups sometimes. That's a great matchup. They played one time, and it was back in 1988.
Yeah, I can't remember a time they've ever played. So
And-
88?
And it was a regular season game. Yeah. So 26-18, I believe.
Cool.
UNLV won. But that's a 10-win team against an 8-win team that's a MAC champion coming in. And now the variable will be, Coach Hauser as the interim head coach with the situation with Brian Smith. Hasn't been resolved. We don't think it'll be resolved. And so we'll see how Ohio rallies around him. But that's kind of a cool bowl. I think that's good. They haven't been out there as far as I know.
Not that I can ever remember. It could very well be their first time heading that way.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm not sure what Ohio's roster situation is like. I mean, I would imagine a guy like Parker Navarro, who intends to come back and play a 7th year of college football, isn't unless he hits the portal.
Yeah.
But I would imagine he's not going to sit out for any reason. You would hope C.A. Bangura, who's been their bell cow the last few weeks, plays football. I couldn't imagine him sitting out for any reason either. But hopefully, unlike in the last few years, maybe Ohio will actually have something that resembles their regular season roster playing in the bowl game.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we're all talking about, right? I think, who did I say this to earlier today? We were talking about, now they're talking about collectives and financing of college football. And I said, did someone print a book while I wasn't watching that said How to Ruin College Football for Dummies? Because we're trying. I mean, I feel like we are just trying with the bowls, with Notre Dame, with the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. I mean, I don't know what we're doing here. It's like we're just throwing bombs across the room, hand grenades, and seeing what we can blow up. I mean, it's still a great game, but, the days of, let's say Bangura and Navarro just want to play another game together. Like back in the day, you wanted to play one more game.
Sure.
And I don't know where we are with that. I don't want the bowls to go away because I still think they're valuable from a practice standpoint for those 15 extra practices you get and the youngsters who you can bring along quicker than you would be able to otherwise. And if you don't, then the only important thing is a college football playoff with right now 12 teams. Nobody else gets postseason. That doesn't make sense either. So I don't know where we are, Joseph, but it seems like we'll screw it up somehow.
Well, at least Ohio's saddling up to go down to Dallas. At least
Yeah.
they're going to play.
Yeah.
So that's
good.
fun.
That's a good thought. Yep.
And the Louisville Cardinals are going to saddle up and play, too. They're going to be heading to Florida to play in the Boca Raton Bowl of Beans.
Yes.
I don't know where of Beans came from.
I don't know.
I thought it used to just be the Boca Raton Bowl. Now it's the Boca Raton Bowl of Beans.
Yeah, I think it was sponsored obviously by Boca Raton, which is a beautiful place. I've been to that bowl game, and it's nice. It's at FAU Stadium, and anytime you have palm trees on the inside of the stadium, that's cool.
That's killer.
So the weather is fantastic. I was down there when Marshall played NIU, and that was a year they had Rakeem Cato, and they kind of blew that last season-ending game against Western Kentucky 67-66, and so they could have been undefeated themselves and went down there and took it out on the Huskies that day. But a beautiful place to play a bowl game. So good for the Cardinals and the Rockets to head down south.
Yeah, I don't think that Boca Raton looks much like Toledo, Ohio does this time of year, so I'm sure the Rockets are happy to get down there and play some football in a different climate against a team that, I can't remember the last time Louisville and Toledo would have squared up.
I'm not sure they have very much in their history. No, Toledo, we all know what the weather is in Toledo this time of year. They don't have palm trees. They have a rocket outside their stadium, but that's about it.
And it's pointed at Bowling Green, I'm told.
Yeah, that's
the exact angle that would put it right down on the football field.
Huh, okay, so Bowling Green got behaved.
You ever heard that?
I have not, but now that you say it, it is pointed that way, right?
Supposedly that rocket is angled at Bowling Green. Mathematically speaking, if it went off, it would land there.
Oh, I'm hoping that we never have to use it.
I hope not. I hope it's, it's merely a statue, right?
Aimed right at Dwight Perry Stadium.
Yep.
I'll be darned.
Both of those bowl games, Keith, are on the same day, so whether it's you or Jimmy anchoring that day, you'll be calling highlights of both of them.
Good.
Because
except the Bobcats start late, right?
They start late. Yeah. That's Tuesday, December 23rd at 9, the Frisco Bowl with Ohio and UNLV, and then Louisville-Toledo is earlier that day.
2 p.m.
At 2 p.m.
Okay.
2 days before Christmas. So when you're making your party mix and your fruit cakes and eggnog, you have some football games to watch there 2 days before Christmas.
Man, I turn on bowl games. I don't know about you, but I don't ever look like if that's on and the holidays are going on, I'm watching.
Absolutely.
I don't. Everybody says this meaningless stuff except for the teams that still want to play and coaches that still want to coach. I mean, I don't know what we're telling our kids if you can opt out. Well, if you can opt out, why don't you opt out of the 10th game of the season because you no longer have a chance to win your conference championship? And what are we doing here?
They said, "Oh, well, what if you started off 0-4? You just mail it in for the year?"
I mean, is this where we're going? I mean,
I hope not.
And not getting back to the Notre Dame thing, although they've gotten a lot of flack for this and probably deservedly so. What are you teaching your kids? Hey, we got to ride out the whole season together. Well, no, we're not because it didn't work out like we thought.
Let's get into it.
Okay.
Because we're going to talk about the college football playoff. Notre Dame gets left out along with BYU. Some folks would even say along with Texas, although I don't necessarily think Texas had much of a case.
No.
I think BYU and Notre Dame did. But really, they didn't get left out because they lost to Miami. They got left out because we have 2 G5 teams in there. Whether you like that or not, that's the structure. And it's just unfortunate if you're a Notre Dame fan that ends up being the reason you get knocked out of there. Because, let's be real, they're better than JMU and Tulane are.
Yeah, you would say. I don't know.
On paper,
put
at
them on,
least.
yeah, put them on the field and see what happens. I mean, we have seen several New Year's games where G5s have done really well.
Sure.
And we've seen several playoff games where big brand names have gotten smoked. Ohio State, Tennessee, SMU got rolled a year ago. So here's the thing: if those are the rules, top 25 conference champions get in, then you can't change them midstream. Now, watch the committee change it after this, because
absolutely.
Behind closed doors they may say, well, we can't have this ever happen again. This is what's wrong with that committee. The other thing is that committee meets every week, and all week long they had Notre Dame ahead of Miami. Well, what happened to change the final week? That Notre Dame does have a gripe on that. Yeah. They can say, well, and they have said, Bavakwa has said, hey, what do we do differently now? All of a sudden we're behind them. All year long you gave us this impression we were in. So why don't you just meet once? Why do you got to do the drama? We know why. Commercials, money, ESPN. But it's not fair to do that and then to change and all of a sudden say, and then to use some circuitous logic to explain it to everybody. Yeah. And let's get back to Alabama. Great tradition. Only 3 losses in the tournament. They got pretty much dominated by Georgia, and they didn't drop a spot. Now BYU got dominated by Texas Tech, whom they lost to twice.
Dropped them out of it.
And they're out. Where's that logic? I mean, and so, okay, and if we're going to do this, is it time to get rid of the conference championship games? Maybe it is. Because you can't say, oh, you got there, but we're going to penalize you because you lost.
True.
Otherwise, the other teams that are sitting at home get to watch the carnage and say, now we can maybe jump up. There are so many flaws within the system. And I'm not smart enough by myself to figure it out. But they got it. The problem I have with college football, and I don't know if they need a czar or another committee, but there are just so many. Everything they do is reactive instead of proactive. Like something screws up. Oh, we got to fix that. It's never, we're going to do this so this doesn't happen. And there are smart enough people in this business to understand, how do we do this fairly? Because this really isn't fair. So I don't know how you change that, but the current structure isn't working.
You can see this stuff coming. Like the fact that we expanded the playoff, which has been good in a lot of respects, it has been detrimental to other aspects of the game. The bowl season. We have 9 teams sitting out bowl season. And we're not talking about random teams. We're talking about Notre Dame. I think Kansas State is one of them. There's 9 teams that have said, nah, we're good on that.
Yeah.
Because in their mind, the end-all, be-all is the college football playoff, because that's what we tell them all year long.
It is. And some of them, though, opted out for other reasons. Baylor was 5-7, probably. And if their coach didn't think they deserved a bid, then good on him. Some of the others opted out because their coaches left. So here again, we've got this coach situation where, oh, now who's going to coach the bowl game? Who's going to coach the college football playoff? Oh, Lane Kiffin's gone, so he's not coaching Ole Miss. I mean, it is an absolute mess. I think all the professional people, media, experts, they all look down at college football and say, what are you all doing? Are you intentionally taking a match to this? Because it sure seems like it sometimes.
Along with roster personnel.
Oh, yeah.
You don't know who's going to be trotting out there for you.
Yeah. And last year, of course, that we had the Marshall incident, which everybody talked about, and they got fined by the league because they didn't have enough players, they thought, to safely play that bowl game against Army at the Independence Bowl. And so they get fined. 17 or 18 players go with Coach Huff to Southern Miss. And so now they move the portal to January 2nd. Okay, that's good. But again, why is it always after the fact? Like who sat there and thought, let's open the portal during bowl season?
Right.
How smart is that? Just somebody come up with an idea and they vote on it and say, yeah? I don't know.
Well, think about the Ohio State situation. This is not anyone feeling sorry for Ohio State, of course. But here's what Ryan Day was dealing with this past week, right? You had the top wide receiver in America, because it's signing day. You're trying to make sure he doesn't flip the organ on you. There's that.
It's Chris Henry, right?
Chris Henry Jr. On top of it, and of course the obvious, which is you're preparing for a conference championship game. So there's two things that you're juggling. On top of all the other guys you want to make sure signed to, not just Chris Henry Jr., but he was the most notable.
All the other guys.
Your offensive coordinator / wide receivers coach / best recruiter on your staff is entertaining a head coaching job, which I don't blame him for. There's that. He's your play caller all at once. How in the world are you supposed to focus on winning a football game when you have a zillion other things to worry about all at the same time?
Yeah. And I'm just thinking back to when this is not a revelation that coaches go get jobs. But back in the day, that portal wasn't a factor. They didn't have to sit there and manage their roster. You know, you could say, I'm going to finish out my year. The other school would respect that, and then you finished out, went to a bowl or what have you, and then you went to your new program. Now you can't do that because of all the other, the other extraneous stuff you have to be concerned with, keeping your coaches, keeping your players, recruiting, the transfer portal, NIL, and everything else that goes with it. So it makes it where it's just a free-for-all, wild, wild west of everybody trying to hire coaches.
Yeah. How about the players right now who are wrestling with, especially one of these playoff teams, right? How many of them are wrestling with the idea of like, well, I would like to stay and help my team compete, try to win a national championship, but also if I don't leave now, it may not be in my best interest to, stick around.
Yeah.
How many guys are going to end up foregoing the playoff because they feel like they got to go somewhere else, whether that's the right thing to do or not?
Right, and haven't we kind of changed the incentive? The carrot now used to always be, hey, let's go win a title, whether it's a national championship, whether it's a bowl game, whether it's a conference championship. Now is the carrot just money? I mean, and I'm not criticizing these guys because people are waving it at them. They're young, and the inclination is always, I got to go get my money because he's going to get his money. So we have put them in untenable situations that changes the motivations for why they play in football. I mean, everybody wants to, they want to play at the next level. Very few do. But even the ones that aren't, well, I got to go get paid while I can. And so it's just the way the system is set up. It's just so anticlimactic for a lot of these guys to go play and just for the old, what do you want to call them, an anachronism. Hey, let's play for your teammate. Let's play to win. Let's play for our school. That's sort of like old school. And they laugh at you now maybe if you say that. So although I see a lot of players now that are hanging on and want to play. I mean,
they exist.
Yeah, Coach Gibson's kept, or at least they haven't jumped in the portal, but said they're coming back to Marshall. Some pretty good talent. Yeah. Like that's re-recruiting your guys. I don't think you call them a get. Like now you just call them a keep. Sure. Like they made a good keep here on this guy and that guy. And every coach in the country is going through that. Not only going to get guys that aren't in the program, but trying to keep the ones that they already have.
Sure. So as far as the G5 schools having a path to the college football playoff, I'm trying to think like how to ask this without, sounding disrespectful to a team like JMU or Tulane, because it's not that I don't think they should have a chance to compete. I guess I just think we shouldn't include them just for the sake of inclusion.
Right.
If they truly are a top 12 team in America, so be it. Like, what year was it that Marshall ran the table and finished, top 12 in the
1999.
Like 99 Marshall? Let's go. Put them in a 12-team field. A team like JMU, who played one Power 4 school and got beat by 2 scores, it was Louisville.
Yep.
That's not the same path that Miami took.
Right.
And that's kind of where I'm at. Even Tulane, for example, that's a 2-loss team. They got beat by Ole Miss earlier in the year. We'll see that rematch. I mean, spanked by Ole Miss. And also lost to Texas San Antonio. I just have a real hard time sitting there saying it's worth it to include them over teams like Notre Dame and BYU. But I understand this is the structure we're operating under.
Well, and I'll play devil's advocate.
Sure.
If you're going to have a league of football bowl subdivision teams, 135, whatever the number is, so if you don't do it, if you don't give them at least access, then you're telling them at the beginning of the season you have no chance to play for a national championship. That would be and is the only sport in college that does not allow access to a title game. That's always been my argument, even way before any of this. So whatever you want to do, or if you just take the highest, if you take one, I don't know. You have to at least leave a window, because understand this too. I'm not sure who JMU tried to schedule, but
Right.
you know how hard it is to try to schedule a Power 5 team. They don't want to play them.
No
They're,
way.
no, they're going to go play somebody else they can beat, give them a check.
You don't want to play the best G5
no,
school.
no.
You want to play
You're going to play
somebody.
somebody else.
Yeah.
And so they run into that problem as well. So there are a whole host of issues on, how do you schedule better and when you can't schedule them. Nobody's going to give you a 2-for-1 anymore. They're not going to Harrisonburg or Huntington or wherever. So there are a bunch of issues with that. But, I always think of the NCAA tournament. Isn't that what everybody talks about for the first 2 weeks? Are the upsets, the Cinderellas, the
first
ones
2
that
weeks
you
are the
don't get a
most fun.
chance to see. And football's a little different because I think we kind of know who the powers are and the kingpins are going to be when all this is finished up. But man, I don't think you categorically just exclude teams because they don't have the luxury of playing in the SEC or the Big Ten.
Right. Yeah, it's not my, opinion of it.
Oh
isn't
no, I
based on
it's a hearty
exclusion.
argument. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's really not based on exclusion because, like I said, if you have a team that runs the table and they look to be a top 12 team in America, yeah, I do want to see them in there. But this thing of like JMU's ranked 24th, Tulane's ranked 20th, like this year it just feels a little silly. Last year with Boise State, I was fine with that. I think Boise State was legit and could make some noise.
Well, then
If JMU upsets Oregon, I'll be the first to wave the JMU flag. I think that's great.
Right.
But I just don't know how likely that is. They're a 21-point underdog.
Okay, and I'll grant you that as well. But just go back and look at all the teams so far in this college football playoff who've gotten steamrolled, and it ain't just a group of 5 people.
Absolutely,
the names are out there, and there's some big names. Who would Ohio State beat 55-3? Was that Kansas State a few years ago? It was a huge beatdown. I can't remember.
You talking Ohio State?
No, was it TCU? It was TCU.
Oh, I thought you said Ohio State.
That beat them. I believe it was. I think it was TCU that got smoked in one of those games.
Yeah.
Point is, and these are the pundits on the internet. Oh well, we're going to be watching it because if they're not close, we're never doing this again. Well, you have to say that about everybody then.
That
right?
doesn't mean it's flawed. Beatdowns doesn't mean it's flawed.
Right, and you can't go on past performance because of what whatever happens this year. I don't know what'll happen. Obviously Oregon's favored. Obviously, Ole Miss will be favored as they should be. But Tulane beat USC in a New Year's Day bowl game.
It happens.
Yeah.
Right.
Boise State and their famous win over the years. It can happen. It's likely it won't, but I don't think that should take away the access. And if you want to make it one, then make it one. But you have to give the the Sun Belt and the American. You have to give them access, the MAC, into at least a possibility to make it to the playoff. I think. If it's one team, it's one team. But they got to have access. You got to give them something to be hopeful for.
Would it be disrespectful to just create a hard line and say, here's the college football playoff for the Power Four, here's the college football playoff for all the, what do they call them, G5 or G6
G6 now.
Is that disrespectful, or are we being real about it and saying, it's a different caliber of football?
Well, it is. It's a different caliber of football. It's a different budget of football. You're talking. But here's the thing: if we use this logic, what are we looking at? 10 teams maybe that can win the national championship realistically? Is it even 10?
And what
at the highest level of
as
FBS?
we have it now?
Yeah,
Probably, yeah.
it might be less than 10. It may be like if you lined them all up. So my point is for the good of the game. This is a monolithic sport that people across the country love. If you start to narrow the focus of it, and you're only going to let the big boys play here, that's fine. And you want to put the others in what used to basically be one AA.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if that flies. I don't think you want to diminish the interest across the game across America, because if it's only Ohio State and Alabama playing every year, I think the casual fan may just say, I've seen that before. I could be wrong. I'm kind of advocating for those teams that have trouble getting there. But I just think in any sport, across the board, in baseball you got a chance. Coastal Carolina won the national championship. In basketball you got a chance to get George Mason to the Final Four. There are those instances where, man, somebody rises up and proves that, hey, play us on the court, play us on the field, and let's see what happens. It's not likely to happen where a group of 5 wins a national championship in football. But it's fun to think about it anyway.
I just hate it for the other 99% of the group of 5 schools. 1% of them is going to make the college football playoff. the rest of them are going to be dealing with transfer portal issues
Yeah.
and all kinds of stuff for a bowl game that, again, people keep telling them is meaningless,
Right.
even though it's not. And so I would like to see a team like Western Michigan, who won the MAC this year,
Yeah.
play for something greater than just their conference title.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it was only going to go to one G5 school. Tulane qualified a different way. They're
Yeah.
one of the 5 highest-ranked conference champions. But, you know, what about the rest of them? If Marshall has a year where they go 10-2 but lose the Sun Belt title game, I would kind of like to see them in a tournament field against, you know, like competition with schools with similar budgets. And I think that would be great. Can you imagine a playoff at the Joan? Man, that'd be unreal.
I think it'd be great. But now you're getting into the situation where, let's say just using the ESPN because they're the giant in the industry.
Oh yeah.
Are they going to be talking about the G5? Or are they going to be just solely focused on the monsters? You know, the best teams in the land. So I don't know how that'll work. I mean, back to the bowls. Here's the thought. If they're meaningless and we're all talking money, let's pay these players to play in bowl games.
Incentivize it.
Maybe, I don't know how much it'll be. That's up to the sponsors to figure out. But if Western Michigan and Louisville are going to go play in a bowl, give their players such and such amount of money.
They used to give them cool prizes anyway.
Yeah, I
Do
mean,
they still
those
do that?
swag bags are expensive. Yeah,
man.
and they got a lot of cool stuff in there. But yeah, I mean, if we're just trying to incentivize this, as opposed to, I read a tweet today. Someone said, "I remember when football players just liked to play football games."
Yeah.
I mean, and I hate to narrow it down and make it simplify it like that. And no disrespect to these players because they put out a lot of effort.
Sure.
But that's not just in football. That's in every college sport, right? And we're putting all this money into football, and we're creating these spheres, like these tiers of, oh, you're the $1 million quarterback. Well, here's the $50,000 lineman, right? I just think we're going on a path that doesn't reward team and effort and I hate to sound like an old guy, but I am. But I mean, like just playing for the spirit of the college, right?
Yeah.
You're a man. I'm a Bobcat through and through, or I'm Western Michigan, or I'm Tulane, or you know. I think there's something to be said for that, but we may have gone too far down the road to go back to that.
Do you think Notre Dame's administration should have said, "Look, guys, I know that this sucks. I know that you're upset about it. We are too. We feel like you deserve better, but we're going to suit up and play." Should they have said that? Because from what I'm reading, it sounds like the team captains were concerned, probably upset. I think they were also worried about personnel issues. A guy like Jeremiah Love is probably going to opt out.
Yeah.
You know, does C.J. Carr even play? Stuff. And I'm not saying C.J. Carr's thinking about not playing, but it would be a real discussion he would have to have in his brain, thinking about the future. But it sounds like the team captains were basically like, I don't think we want to do this. Does somebody like Marcus Freeman or their AD or university president have to be the one to say, look, this is a teaching moment here, guys. Let's play football?
You put it the best. It's a teaching moment. Now, I'm not saying Notre Dame didn't have a complaint, sure. But what are we teaching them here? If you notice, the Vanderbilt coach told his guys, we didn't do enough to get in there. And they had a heck of a season. We just didn't. We needed to do one more thing. And we're not going to sit around and mope and complain. We're going to go play in a bowl game. You're going to have kids someday. And what would I tell my kid, son or daughter? Oh, the game didn't go so well, you're just going to quit, right? No, you started the season, so you finish it. If you don't want to play again, that's fine. But we're not teaching, you're not teaching the same values the first week of August as you are the first week of December if you can just say, oh, it didn't go like we wanted, we're out. And I think they've taken a hit to their substantial personality in college football. And I have been to that stadium. I mean, that Notre Dame is one of these places that, you really do, it does exceed the hype when you go watch a game there. But I think they've hurt themselves and their brand with what they did this week. And it's gonna take a while to fix it if they can. And maybe they don't care. But man, that's one of the notable programs in the history of the college game. And they got a black eye this week, I think.
Yeah. A lot of people are saying, oh, well, they're doing it to stick it to ESPN. And maybe from the administration side, that's what they think. To say, hey, we're not going to play BYU in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. And, of course, I would watch that.
Right.
There's going to be a lot of people watching
ESPN would make a lot of money off that. No
right.
question.
And I can hear that logic because I know that they're upset with ESPN. They're blaming ESPN.
And the ACC.
They're blaming the ACC. I think that relationship is severed. But I don't think that the captains of the team are thinking that way. I don't think they're like, oh, let's stick it to ESPN. These are football players.
Yeah.
They're not thinking like that, I don't think. I think they're more so just bummed that their goal of winning a natty was, in their opinion, ripped out from under them, and so they're just like, no thanks. So is it an emotional reaction? Is it a personnel reaction? I think the answer to that question depends on who you ask, but it's probably a mixture of both.
Yeah, and whomever the decision came down from, AD, president, Coach Freeman, whomever, did they make it too quickly? I mean, in the heat of the moment, you're going to make, no matter what you're doing, raising, you make a decision as a kid or as an adult. If you do it when your emotions are at their highest, then you're probably going to look back and say, man, I should have calmed down beforehand. I don't know if waiting 2 or 3 days would have changed their mind, or they would have still said we're not playing in a bowl game, maybe. But I just think when you're you've got that much riding on it, and to come out, what was that, an hour afterwards, 2 hours afterwards, I think, they came out and said we're done. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's just, it flies in the face of teaching these kids lessons about life and persevering in adversity, and things aren't always going to go your way. And we tell them this from the time they're this big, and then they get to the highest level of college football, and then they walk away from a game because it didn't go the way we wanted.
Yeah. I know Notre Dame probably feels like we're better than the Pop-Tart Bowl, and in my opinion, they are.
Yeah.
But, hey, I mean, go out and win it.
But they're not the only one that's ever happened to.
Go win it.
And they won't be the only one that still ever happens to.
Sure.
No matter if it's 16 teams or whatever. There's always going to be a 17th or 18th team. There's always that 65th, 66th team that gets left out of the NCAA tournament. And it doesn't matter how many you put in there. There are always going to be people who said, what about us? And that's just the way of sports. That's how it happens.
Everyone throws in their fix, and they say, well, I think we need to go to 16. Well, we're just arguing about 17 and 18.
Yeah, I heard Herb Street say that. Yeah, I mean,
What are we? That'd be cool, I guess, but it doesn't fix your problem. You got other problems within the structure and the subjectivity of it. It's not the number.
No, and again, I think there is an agenda on ESPN. They make a lot of money off college football.
There's a conflict of interest there that I think they want us all to ignore.
Yeah,
it's hard to
they tell
ignore
us not to. It's silly. I mean, they've got the people they know that make them a lot of money, and that's every decision they make with this weekly ranking thing. I think it's silly. I mean, I really think it's a joke, and so maybe they need to tweak that, because that was a lot of the reason there were problems this year.
If they just gave us that final bracket without the previous 4 or 5 weeks of posturing and rationale,
right,
I think there'd been a lot less hoopla.
Yeah, and then you answer definitively, here's why he's in and why he's not, why they didn't get in and they did. I mean, you have those answers, but you don't have to do it every week and then change the formula as it gets closer, or the goalposts go this way instead of that way. That's what people just want, some certainty.
Sure.
That's what coaches want. I mean, just be up front with us. Don't, let's not play this shell game where you're moving teams and picking one out.
And half the time they can't even explain their rationale.
Oh, it doesn't work.
I mean, you got guys making 6, 7 jokes on ESPN, but they can't explain to you why one team's ahead of the other.
Taking the long way around, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
Well, let's go through at least the seeding here, because we haven't even really talked about the matchups. But
yep.
Indiana grabs the 1 after beating Ohio State. Ohio State falls to 2. Georgia, as your SEC champ, is 3. Texas Tech, Big 12 champion, is number 4. So those are the teams with byes. They'll be waiting around there that weekend before Christmas to see who they play.
Yep.
Number 5, Oregon will play number 12, JMU. Number 6, Ole Miss will play number 11, Tulane. That's a rematch. Ole Miss beat them pretty good earlier in the year. There were a lot of people that thought Texas A&M might deserve the 6, but they end up getting the 7 seed. They will play Miami. The winner of that one plays Ohio State on New Year's Eve. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then another rematch, Oklahoma and Alabama. This one's at Oklahoma in the 8-9 matchup. I think the most intriguing matchup there, because we didn't see it already this year, and just competition level. I mean, Miami, Texas A&M. I'm not just saying that because the winner plays Ohio State, but that's one where I could see either team winning that football game.
Yeah, and I like assuming Oregon beats JMU. And then they play Texas Tech. I think that's a crazy matchup too.
Yeah,
those are two that have particular interest to watch. And and then you got those 4 sitting there. Georgia, Georgia's sitting there in the catbird seat. They've done it. I mean, they've had a heck of a season. And of course, Indiana we already talked about, and Ohio State got a little chip on their shoulder after that scene in Indianapolis. So we'll see how that goes. Or where was the Big Ten championship? Indianapolis, yeah. Yep. That's what I thought.
If you're Ohio State, you're talking about the difference between the 1 and the 2 seed. It's really just a matchup thing. Which side of the bracket are you on?
Right.
Would you rather? What do you think is more favorable, playing Texas A&M or Miami, or Alabama and Oklahoma. The winner of the 8-9 game plays the 1.
Winner of the 8-9 game plays the 1. Right.
Correct.
So
it's a matter of Indiana gets Alabama or Oklahoma. Ohio State gets Miami or Texas A&M.
Still rather be Ohio State in that scenario.
I kind of feel the same way.
Yep.
I think the 2 seed looks a little better. Now, with that said, you win your quarterfinal game and Georgia's sitting there for you in the semifinal. That's no fun.
Yeah. And, and the one thing about this, the way this format works for the 12, is you're going to rumble into these people regardless. I mean, the best teams are going to knock heads, right? And so don't even look ahead. You just go week. I hate to use the cliche, but it's not. Play that one, win that one, see who's next, and then worry about it. Because look at all these people standing in your way: Georgia, Ohio State, Indiana, Texas Tech, Oregon, Ole Miss, Alabama, Oklahoma. Those are tremendous football teams. So there's no easy pass to get through there.
Even a team like JMU and Tulane, who I just sat here and basically told everybody I don't think they should be in it, they don't deserve to be in there. Good football teams with nothing to lose.
Right.
That I think those coaching staffs, those programs know that they may never be back in this situation.
Right.
So they are absolutely going to come at it guns blazing. They're going to leave absolutely nothing on the field. Whatever wrinkle they have in their playbook, you're going to see it. And I think you're going to see it in round 1. They're not going to save anything. I would be a little nervous to play some of those teams, especially if they jump out on you and get you on your heels a little bit. Those guys get a little confident, start playing a way that they haven't all season long. That would make me a little nervous.
I mean, I might run a little tape of the UMBC Retrievers beating Virginia in the NCAA tournament that year. Right? Number 1 had never beaten a 16 had never beaten a 1, and that happens. I mean, yeah, you're right. It's far-fetched, but like you said, man, they're playing with house money. You're just going up there to have fun. Obviously, you're going to bring some wrinkles, and you're going to try to beat them. And like you say, the longer you can hang around, these blue blood programs are going to go, uh-oh, maybe they are better than we thought. I'm really interested in seeing how they fare. We watched, of course, JMU here as Marshall had a chance to go down and score and try to beat them down here. But they've got talent, and do they have what it takes to beat Oregon? We'll see, but it's going to be fun to watch.
I'm rooting for a Signetti Bowl. I want Indiana JMU
in the
semifinal.
How about that? His old school versus and
Can you imagine?
And then
we're doing just as good without you.
And their current coach Bob Chesley's going to UCLA. So.
Right.
He's done a fantastic job. But see, that's okay, right? He's going to a bigger school, not in the same conference, and he's getting to coach his way out of JMU and trying to get them into a semifinal or quarterfinal. That's crazy.
What kind of team will we see come out of the locker room in the Ole Miss helmets? Is that one that feels chaotic? Is that one that's just angry and elevates their level of play? Are they going to be a little discombobulated because of what's going on? I don't know. That's one of those, kind of like Ohio State last year. What do you get? Yeah. Are they still moping around, or do they use that to flip a switch?
Yeah. I think it does help them that they have their own guy coaching. They didn't bring in somebody else. I mean, this is a guy they rally around, their defensive coordinator. They're probably not thinking about Lane Kiffin at all right now, and that's yesterday's news. Mm-hmm. Go out here and prove it to everybody. I mean, Ole Miss kind of plays with a chip on their shoulder in the SEC anyway, so they're used to that. So, hey, let's go shock the world. And, I mean, they've been good this year. So I don't anticipate that they'll come out flat. I wouldn't think anyway.
With everything that people have been talking about with this playoff stuff, that Lane Kiffin news feels like that was a year ago. It really feels that way.
I mean, I think you got Lane
Kiffin. That was last weekend.
Remember when James Franklin left Penn State? I mean, they fired him in, whatever week it was, 6, 4, 5. That seems like 2 years ago.
At least they finally figured it out.
They did. Matt Campbell's heading over there. I was able to do a game when Toledo was playing in the MAC. I was doing it for ESPN Plus and got to spend some time with him. He's a sharp guy, and he's done really well at Iowa State. Now, they haven't quite climbed like they were when he first got there, but I heard his speech the other day talking to Penn State boosters, and it was good. It's a hard job, and we'll see if they have buyer's remorse when they say, James Franklin won a lot of games around here, but he's gone. So now it's Coach Campbell's turn.
And I've got a lot of work to do on the recruiting trail because they botched this. Well, this window here.
I mean, they were. Everybody kept saying they're waiting around until no coaches are left. I mean,
I thought the point to fire Franklin that early was to have your first pick of the litter. Well, the litter was gone.
Well, and there again, that's what it was, a domino effect. All these schools thought, well, they fired their coach, they're going to fire our coach. And by the way, how crazy is it that Brent Pry, the former coach of Virginia Tech, is going to be the defensive coordinator for James Franklin? I mean, this This is like Bizarro world.
Somebody said that he's like Bill Yost in Remember the Titans.
Yeah, that's
Remember?
right.
Herman Boone comes in. He's the head coach, takes Yost's job, keeps him on his DC.
Yeah, that's right. I had to make sure he wasn't undercutting him, right?
Right.
That's right.
You worry about your defense.
That's right.
I'll worry about the offense.
There you go.
You know?
Whenever you can quote Coach Boone, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah. You're Hall of Fame in my book, right? That's what he said. I think that's it. We got through a lot here, man.
We didn't answer any questions, but we sure
did.
had fun.
All we did was tell people what we thought, and, you know, the college football monsters out there, that I don't think they really care. Unless they're tuned into WSAZ Sports Plus, they might say, hey, Keith Morehouse, he's got some good.
Oh, I don't know if I do. I love the game. I do think it's a great game. And I think we have unwittingly let some things happen to it that have to be fixed. And, you know, guys who make a lot more money than we do can sit in a room and figure it out. But it's this just letting it run wild and letting the inmates run the asylum. I mean, I don't think that's going to work. But who knows? I don't know that anybody's sitting around thinking about it. Like you said, we got the playoff, and we'll be talking about that until January. So
it's never too late to reel it in. There's probably some things that you can't.
Right.
You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, but you don't have to let it get worse.
No. Try to improve. It's a great game. Just make sure we keep some of the great aspects of it.
All right. I'll let you get downstairs.
Thanks, Joseph.
Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. That was WSAZ Sports Director Keith Morehouse. Keith and I on here, of course, trying to fix the college football structure, as everyone's trying to these days. Hey, if you like WSAZ Sports Plus, if you want to check out some of our other episodes, scan this QR code. It'll take you to WSAZ.com, right to the WSAZ Sports Plus tab. All of these episodes get posted as audio episodes as well. That's over on Spotify. It's on Apple Podcasts. We also upload the videos of the entire episodes to YouTube. So all of those places you can find us. Clips of the show are always on my Facebook account, Joseph Payton WSAZ, as well as the Instagram account that we have, WSAZ Sports Plus. Occasionally we put some things out on Twitter too. So we appreciate you joining us, appreciate you listening to us, and we'll see you same time, same place next week right here in the WSAZ Now studio. For now, I'm Joseph Payton. This has been WSAZ Sports Plus.